Let's start this video with a bedtime story. Once upon a time, there was a hare who was lying asleep in a coconut grove. Suddenly, a ripe coconut fell down on the ground with a loud noise. Hearing it, the hare woke up startled. "Oh, the sky is falling," said the hare. At once, he started running frantically. Minutes later, another hare saw him and asked, "Why do you look scared, and why are you running?" "The sky is falling, the sky is falling," shouted the panicked hare. Within time, many more animals joined them. Even the lion saw the vast number of beasts running crazily. Then he roared loudly. Hearing the roar, the animals stopped. Soon the lion learned the matter. He understood that there was some misunderstanding, because as he looked up at the sky, it wasn't falling. "Has anyone seen the sky falling?" he asked. Trembling, the hare stepped forward and told the lion what he knew. Hearing this, the lion said, "Show me the place where you slept." Afraid, the hare took them to the place where he slept. On inspecting the place, the lion saw the fallen coconut. Then he told the animals what he had seen and added, "My dear hare, you should have looked around before you made such a hue and cry." The hare was embarrassed and asked everyone for forgiveness. So why did we tell this children's story here? Is it because it has a sky in it? Or is it because the intentions of our channel has changed? No, I forgot to tell you the moral of the story. The moral of the story is, do not jump into conclusion without checking the truth, and do not blindly follow any person. Doesn't this suit the essence of our channel? Anyways, that's not the story that we want to start telling you today. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to the real story. Hello and welcome back to Pale Blue Thoughts. As promised, today we are going to start the story of the sky. The story is about the relationship that the sky has with human beings. The sky is one of the first things that our parents show us when we are babies. You must have all experienced your mothers taking you out and showing you the sky along with, let's say, a cat or a dog or a bird in order to make you eat that food. If you stepped outside and took a look at the sky in the morning, you will be able to see the blue sky sitting on top of the earth like an umbrella kept upside down. But we often tend to forget that there is no physical thing as a sky, and that if you try and reach out to touch the sky, you will never end up touching anything that can be called as a sky. So sky is an illusion. What you see when you look at the pale blue sky is the atmosphere playing tricks on your eyes.
There is a layer of gaseous matter that envelops the earth, which we call as the atmosphere. Sky is an optical illusion created by this atmosphere. When sunlight travels through this atmosphere, it undergoes a physical process called scattering. As the light undergoes scattering, all other visible colors of this light get scattered and we end up receiving only the blue light. Thus, we see the sky, or rather the atmosphere, as blue. This is visible only when we are inside the atmosphere. And if we go out of it, let's say we go out in the space, you won't be able to see this illusion. Now if you ask how thick is this blanket above the earth, it is not easy to come to a definite answer as definitions vary. However, the maximum it is measured is around 480 kilometers. However, most of it is within 100 kilometers. Now if you consider the atmospheric gases in the atmosphere, the distance comes down to about 16 kilometers only. Compare this with the diameter of the earth, which is around 12,742 kilometers. If you compare the size of the earth with the thickness of the atmosphere, The comparison is similar as an apple peel to its apple. It is that thin. Another funny thing to note is that all of the man's exploits are done inside this deep atmosphere. All our high altitude climbing, hot air ballooning, flight travel across happens within this skin deep blanket. Furthermore, all the physical phenomena like rain, thunder, lightning, hailstone, cyclones, storms, etc. too happen within this tiny skin.
When we usually talk of the sky, it is actually above this blanket. That is where the rest of the celestial objects like sun, moon, stars, planets, etc. exist. Also, there are two kinds of sky: the day sky and the night sky. The day sky is what we just discussed, an illusion created by the atmosphere. The sky appears like a window for us to see through into the other parts of the vast universe. The day sky, however, is a closed window. Because we have sunlight all around us during the day, we are unable to see anything beyond this atmosphere. So the day sky prevents us from seeing anything beyond the clouds. Now the night sky doesn't have this limitation. The night sky is like an open window for us to view the universe we live in. The farthest objects that you can see can be seen in the night sky. When we go to see an eye doctor and he asks, "How far are you able to see?" you may mention it in meters. However, we conveniently forget that we can see the moon, which is around 0.4 million or 4 lakh kilometers away. We can see the sun, which is 150 million kilometers or 15 crore kilometers away, and stars, which are thousands of light years away.
Also, the oldest objects that we see are in the sky. Most of the stars that we see in the sky are thousands of light years away. For example, if you observe the sky during summer, you will be able to see a star called Deneb that is situated around 2600 light years away. That means I am seeing the star because of the light that started from it 2600 years ago. So we are able to see 2600 years back in the past. Also, when we talk about oldness, our forefathers also saw the same sky that we are seeing today. The sky has remained unchanged for thousands of years. Today, we might not be able to see an object or a place or a road that our great-great-great-grandfathers used. However, we can still see the same sky that they saw. Even if we went about 10 generations ago, the story remains the same. The sky that they saw is the same sky that we see today. That is the specialty of the sky.
There, however, is a difference in how we see the sky today compared to what our forefathers saw. We are now in a city-centric model of living. Apart from the lights in the sky, we have a lot of artificial lights in the night. Those days, they didn't have such a luxury. They had very little lights in those days. Today, we have created something called as light pollution. Because we scatter a lot of artificial lights into the atmosphere, we are shutting out a lot of the sights that we can see in the sky. Also, our atmosphere is getting a lot polluted these days. People who have been to hill stations and have looked up at the sky would have seen many more stars than what we can see from the city.
In 1994, there was an earthquake in Los Angeles, and due to that, the city was under a complete power outage for many hours in the night. That night, the 911 emergency services received a lot of calls stating that they could see some strange happenings in the sky. People thought there was an alien invasion. Anyways, US has this fascination for aliens. You just have to take a look at their movies where many of them are about aliens and they come to attack the US. Aliens somehow have this fascination for that country among the rest of this world. Anyway, What people saw was the Milky Way. They hadn't seen such a sight ever before, as the city was always bathed in light even at night. If you can have access to a clear night sky without pollution, you can actually see the edge of the Milky Way, which is actually a dense cluster of stars and nebulae. It looks like someone has spit milk in the sky, hence the name Milky Way. If you are in India and want to watch it now, it is the best time, June to August. Just head to Spiti Valley or to Leh or Ladakh and you can view it there. Just be careful anyway to avoid the coronavirus and some Chinese insurgents.
So that difference is there between seeing what is there in the sky between then and now. However, what we observe in the sky today as a hobby and what the people in olden times saw in the sky had a different purpose.
Our forefathers looked at the sky to determine how they can improve their lives by looking at the sky. The topic of today's video is to examine the reason why we had to depend on the sky. Today we have different systems to know the passage of time. We have clocks, we have calendars to know how much time has been passed. We also have various tools to know the direction like the roads, road signs, compasses and GPS. However, consider a time when there was no clock, no calendars, no roads, signs or GPS. We are talking about a time when we had just moved away from being hunters and gatherers and we were just developing agriculture. We were also planning on settling down in small societies instead of being nomads. This is that time. You had to grow your own crops to feed yourself, and to do that you had to know when it would start raining so that you can sow your seeds before that. Today it's not a big deal, but in those days you had no idea of knowing when it would be summer or when there would be monsoons or when the year end would happen.
Moreover, not all societies can develop everything that they needed and would not have all the knowledge amongst their group. So in order to transfer materials and knowledge, you had to travel. In places like Arabia and Egypt, you could only travel in the night because traveling through the desert during the day is next to impossible. Similarly, traveling through the seas was also a tough task as there was no GPS to guide them. If you want to know the direction, if you want to travel, if you want to reach your destination, you had to look at the sky. Learn lessons from it was the only option that they had. Also, to calculate age, they had no other way. Let's say a new king needs to be crowned. How old was he? Nobody knows. What a shameful situation. But in those days, the solution to all these problems was found in the sky. To uncover or realize that was one of the cornerstones of human history. This has to be given the same importance as the discovery of fire or the invention of the wheel. The discovery that we can make use of the sky to enhance our lives.
So how is the sky going to help humans? After a lot of observations, some which extended to many years, humans realized that there were some patterns in the movement of these celestial objects in the sky. There were these patterns in their positions, patterns in their movements also. The wandering man was able to identify some patterns in the sky which helped them to understand the patterns in their lives. These patterns were more to do with when it would rain, when will it snow, etc. The sky helped them to understand the seasonal variations, knowledge about the climate, and this helped them in bettering their lives.
How they did that will be told in the continuation of this video. We are trying to purposefully shorten our videos as many of you requested that the length is too long. So keep watching. Thank you for your patient listening. See you in the next video.